Okay, so we're still in the body mass index application here, and I'd like to just enhance it a little more so that we can incorporate the three categories of weight statuses. If the BMI is below 18.5, let's tell them that's below the optimal range, or you're underweight, or however we're going to say it. And then if it's over 25, we can tell them it's above the optimal range. Because right now what we have, this is from the last video, it's a either or situation. Either they're in the healthy optimal range or else they're not. We can get even more specific than that. So let's leave this part alone. Okay, so if they're in the optimal range, we're going to tell them as much. And then let's focus on the overweight category next. So we'll say, or else if, and that's all one word. Okay, don't put a space between your else and your if. It's all one word, and it should go purple on you. Okay, or else if the BMI is greater than or equal to 25. Okay, greater than or equal to 25. We'll say your BMI is above optimal, which is, the equivalent of saying it's too high or they're overweight or whatever. Okay, and then if it's too low, we'll say or else. I could say or else if BMI is less than 18.5 it was. Okay, if it's less than 18.5, spacing shouldn't matter, but I like to space it out nicely, just like if I were typing a sentence in a comm class or something, just to make it look decent. And we'll say your message is, or your BMI is below optimal, which is basically telling them that they're underweight. So, yeah, that'll work. Let's go ahead and run it. Oh, I forgot the then. I teach in other languages that don't use the word then, so that's my downfall. You should be okay with it if this is your first language. But, okay, so, all right, let's see. We'll do the healthy one first. Okay, it's optimal. Let's go way overweight. Oh, I'll clear it first. Okay, above optimal. And then let's clear it and we'll go way below. Okay, so it is working. Another thing I'll recommend is, well, I guess it wouldn't be so easy to do with this, but to do like to try to test those borderline values. So if I know that 100 pounds is BMI of 20. Maybe I'll go up to 120. Okay, 123. Let me go up to, I'm inching my way up. Okay, I want you to test, like, if you can, and this one's kind of tricky, but, if you can test it so that you land on one of those borderline values, because if errors happen, often they happen, they're just tiny logical errors. They still let you run your program, but you wouldn't quite get the results that you were expecting. So, I try to test the borderline values, 18.5, 25, and just make sure that they're, giving you the expected result. So one more thing I'll point out, the way this executes, it will assess the first condition. So this is all one statement here. This entire thing is like one, triple-decker sandwich, and it comes as a whole, and it's executed. Either one of these three messages is going to be built once this is executed. So the way this executes is it comes to the first condition here. If this turns out to be true, if they have a healthy BMI, the message is constructed. This line here, line 64, executes, and then boom, we're out of here. It goes on to the next line after the if-else sandwich structure. Okay, once it gets a true, it's over. That line of code is executed and the whole thing is over, and we move on in the code. Okay, so if this turns out to be false, then it'll come down here and assess this condition. And if that's true, then the message is built and we're out of here. And then finally at the bottom here, if it makes it this far, they've got to be an underweight client. All right. So a couple of things I'll mention is that you really don't need this part here. It's not a big deal that we put it there, but if you've made it this far in the sandwich structure, then it's got to be this. So you don't really have to waste time building the condition, unless, one argument you could say for building the condition is that it makes your code more self-documenting. I can say, oh, okay, well, I guess the underweight people are less than 18.5, and that would be easier to judge if, than if we just had something like this. But, it's totally not necessary to go that extra mile and build the condition. Another thing I'll mention is that, and it's not a big deal in this program because we only have 3 choices and it's a short program anyway, but, you should, as a rule of thumb, put the condition that's most likely to be true, do that one at the top, okay? And then, so the most likely scenarios should be at the top of your sandwich and least likely should be at the bottom. So, for example, if we were writing this for Weight Watchers, for the people who are just signing up to Weight Watchers, we want to give them that initial BMI reading. It would probably be, a correct assumption that most of the people would have an above average or above optimal BMI, because Weight Watchers is in the business of helping people lose weight or get the BMI back down. So you would want to put this guy at the top. So we'll just rearrange this really quickly. We'll say, okay, if the body mass index is, I'll cut this whole thing. Okay. And then I'll just switch it around a little bit. This will be an else if. Okay, and that'll do it.